What's up, guys? It's booktokqutiepie here, coming at you with a book review tonight. And this book review is for none other than our indie author spotlight, Miss Azriel Hope, and her book, Blood and Heaven. And that is A Realm of Eschaton, Book 1. Now, this book, I would describe it as a dark dystopian fantasy romance with spice. And there's a reason I say that. As per all of my reviews, I'm going to try and do it as spoiler-free as possible, and I am going to recommend that you check those trigger warnings. Now, if you're like me, you probably don't have trigger warnings, but I will say there's a lot of different things going on in this book that could be triggering to some people, so make sure you check those out. So this book takes place in a dystopian world that comes to fruition after a quote-unquote plague called all death has pretty much wiped out the human population. And that brings supernaturals into play, and supernaturals basically take over what's left of the populace. And this takes place in what is New York, which New York, encompasses parts of Canada even. And Noria's father, Noria. I read it as Noria. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. But her father is basically the drug kingpin of New York. And the book begins with her basically being sold off like cattle to the highest bidder in his organization. And she is betrayed by someone that she trusts greatly and basically gifted to an enemy faction's king, the vampire king, Elias. Now, this story has enemies to lovers. And when I say enemies to lovers, now keep in mind this is an MMF story, okay? And Elias is the vampire king. He's over 1,000 years old. And he has been with men for that 1,000 years. And his current flame, which their flame is more spicy related than romantic feelings related. Because Elias really doesn't feel those things. He likes to get down, but he doesn't really feel those things for Alejandro. But Alejandro is the sweetest little being. And for me, it's a true opposites attract for him and Elias. Now, when Noria comes into the picture, she's basically gifted to Elias by this betrayer in order to give the betrayer safety. Okay? And Elias wants to end Noria because of something her father did. And I'm not going to reveal what, because you're going to need to read the book to find that out. But when he takes that bite, the bite literally takes him to heaven. Now, Elias makes a choice in that moment to save her and to not end her. And Alejandro and the rest of the organization are not quite sure why, because they had this plan. They had worked this plan out. And I'm not going to tell you what the plan was, but this definitely wasn't the plan. And as their relationship develops and grows, each one of them, like Elias has his relationship with Alejandro. Alejandro has his relationship with Noria. Noria has a relationship with Elias, and there's kind of a relationship between the three of them, but it's kind of like all three of them have their own little interconnected relationships, and you're not really sure how it works, but it works. I will say Noria's story is rough. There's a lot of trauma to unpack there. That's a rough one. I will say Alejandro is the gooeyest cinnamon roll, and I want to love him forever. Elias is a true dark, broody vampire king, give no Fs, I will end you in multiple ways kind of dude. I will say as well, this book ends on the biggest cliffhanger I think I have ever had in a book. And I am so ready for, I think Azriel told me June of 2025 for book 2. Right? But yeah, this book, it takes you on a wild ride. I'm not going to lie. If you like dark, if you like dystopian, if you like fantasy, if you like supernatural, if you like MMF, if you like, things of that nature, enemies to lovers, where Elias struggles with his sexuality, he struggles with his morality, he flip-flops back and forth. There's stuff going on with Noria that flip-flops back and forth. Alejandro seems to be along for the ride. But I liked the book. I enjoyed the book. I'm here for the book. 4 stars for me, 4 on that chili pepper scale. And I am definitely, there's one line when Elias and Noria are getting it. Okay. And she says, "Oh God." And he goes, "That's right. I am your God." But yes, go, read, enjoy. It was a great book. Great book. Bravo, Azriel Hope. Bravo. And guys, if you do end up picking up this book and you do end up liking this book, definitely let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts. I will be doing a drawing tonight for the winners for Azriel's Schmivvy, so make sure you're entering that on both platforms. I'll also be drawing tonight for my January Schmivvy, and I will also be reminding you all tonight that tomorrow Azriel and I are going live 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for about an hour to do a little live Q&A. So definitely check that out, just like I hope you guys will check out Blood in Heaven. Book 2, I believe, comes out in June of this year, and she has another kind of interconnected, Seraphina's Blood, that's coming out in March. So let's go support our indies. Bye, guys.